Many people are talking about and criticizing our current election system for not really working, with two of the major parties, the Canadian New Democrats and the Liberals, promising to look into it and reform it. Our current election system is called the First Past the Post system, or the FPTP. This system is shared with around 47 other countries, such as Canada, obviously, the United Kingdom, US, and India. This system believes that the country is divided into around a lot of different smaller areas or parts called ridings or constituencies. Then, parties will put a candidate in these different ridings. These riding candidates will be hoping to represent these people in the ridings into Parliament. For the candidate to do this, they must first win the local election by having the voters vote for them the most. Once a candidate is selected, they're going to be called the Member of Parliament and they're going to be sworn into office in Parliament in Ottawa. Party with having the most candidates elected to form the government for the next few years. Our country also uses something called the Westminster system, which is a British-style system where the monarch, or our Queen Elizabeth II, Her Royal Majesty, is the head of our government, even though she doesn't really have that much power. Also, it allows our government to do other things, such as having motions of no confidence, which allows the opposition parties to overthrow the ruling party. However, people also have problems with the idea of having the monarch, but that's a whole other issue. Back to the topic of election reform. The two major parties want to change the system for multiple reasons. One of the most important reasons is the idea that sometimes the country picks a government even though the majority doesn't support it. Well, this happened in our last election. Our current government was only selected with 40% of the people who voted. First of all, there's only 60% of voters, but out of 60% of voters, only 40% of people selected that government due to heavy vote splitting. This is the kind of problems which our current system faces, and that's why two of the major parties want to reform it. The Liberals want to believe in something called preferential balloting. Historically, the Liberals have always lost seats to one reason, that their left-wing ideas get split up with all the other parties in the area. For example, they sometimes get split up with the BQ in Quebec, the Greens in British Columbia, the NDP elsewhere, which allows the Conservatives to win. Preferential balloting allows them to get more of the votes overall. How it works is that when the voters vote, instead of just voting for their favorite one, they'll vote for their first, second, and third choice. The candidate who has the least amount of first choice voters ends up getting eliminated, while their second choice votes with the people who voted first choice for them. Instead, their second choice will now be redistributed as first choices to the other candidates. However, this is thought to be a little bit complicated and will prolong the election system by a lot, especially in swing ridings. NDP, on the other hand, want to put something called the MMRP, or the Mixed Member Representational Proportional Vote. It works on the ideals that a person will first vote for their favorite candidate and their favorite party. Then the party which gets the most votes ends up winning, and the candidates who get the highest percentage then gets to become part of the government. The reason why they want to put this is that a lot of times the NDP has the problems of having the most voters overall and having a really high standing. If this system gets in place, the NDP will be able to get most votes out of the people because people end up supporting them a lot. The problem with this one is that it's, again, extremely complicated system. And more importantly, it will allow one policy parties to have more power and will be able to get more representation within the government and within the ridings. This can lead to a lot of problems as government generally wants to have a multi-dimensional parties rule, as this will allow them to work on more and tackle more and more issues, instead of just having the one-party issues rule. The other two parties, the Greens and the Conservatives, want to work with the current system. The Conservatives believe that the current system works, citing that how in two different referendums in two different parts of the country, BC and PEI, other types of election systems were put in place, but Canadians didn't like it and like to work with the current system since they know how it works. But the Conservatives then again also have benefited from this system, which caused a lot of people to question them. The Greens, on the other hand, want to work again with this system and try to put more referendums, meaning that whenever there's a major issues like changes to healthcare, for example, then they'll get everyone within the country to vote on the issue. The problem with this is that even though it brings more people into government and makes them a little more interested possibly, it reduces the efficiency of the government. Overall, all these systems have their own flaws and their own pros and progressive natures. It's for you to decide on which choice you like the most as all the parties and systems. Whatever electoral reform you like, I personally believe that you should always vote for the candidate who you think will represent your riding the best. and that always make sure that you vote, because this is not a given right to everyone in the world, unfortunately. So use this right as a citizen to vote for the person you like the best. To find out more about the elections and the upcoming campaigns the different parties have, please subscribe to Meaningful Media